Alright, so we're going to do a full flight with SayIntentions. I'm in the PMDG 737-800 Las Vegas from the flight attender. This is live weather with live traffic. MSFS live traffic, not FSLTL. Live team base Las Vegas. Computer's chugging today, but that has nothing to do with SayIntentions. So we're going to do this unedited. This is just started up, but I still need to get the whole aircraft configured. So it'll be unedited from start to finish. So we'll pull in data from SimBrief from the into the flight tag. I don't have Navigraph configured on my tablet here, but I've got it up in Volanta, so that's what I'm going to be using for charts, because Navigraph PMDG eats up my frames even more than normal. Alright, so we're going to get this set up first. Ground services. Hey Brian, how are ya?
We did it.
Yes, we did. Who you're hearing right now, that's Brian, the developer of SayIntentions. Yeah, Brian, I've got this recording and I'm gonna not stop until I'm all the way down. So.
I like it, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm getting this set up right now. I've just pulled the jetway in for a little bit more realism. We're gonna start boarding our passengers.
Alright, where do I get to sit?
Huh?
Where do I get to sit?
I mean, if you want to sit in that chair, go for it.
I'll take the jump. I'll take the jump seat.
Nice. We'll get that. Here, that's your chair right there. The one that says no seat and is made of metal.
No step.
There we go. We'll pull the jump seat out.
Where are we broadcasting so I can go watch?
Oh, I'm not on Twitch. I'm not live.
No, such a dumb question, sorry. Okay.
No,
cool.
I'm not live, but I've got I'm streaming to you in our Discord right now. So you're seeing my frame rate being bad. It's just because my computer's chugging today with this scenery. It has nothing to do with SayIntentions. It is Flight Tampa's Las Vegas.
And you know how good I am at Discord. How the heck do I see your stream?
See where it says live next to my name?
But hang on, I'm gonna get this. You give me a second.
All right. This is how you know it's going to be completely unedited, because I'm not going to cut this out.
No.
Find it? Did you find it?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And you can see it now?
Yeah, I see it.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we have... I remember if PMDG... It's been a little bit since I've actually used the 737. I can't remember if PMDG put checklists in here, and I don't think they did. Is this just the performance tool? Yep. Okay. So, I'm going to pull up checklist because I'm a good pilot. I'm going to do this the proper way. Alright, so pre-flight checklist, our parking brake is on, battery. Let's see, we're set up in turnaround mode. So we have our APU on and our generators on. APU generator is on, battery is in standby. Our guard is closed. APU generator is on, position lights are steady. Wheel wells off, logos on, edges are off, views on, the lights are off. Seatbelt signs for boarding. Turn those puppies off. Cabin lights are on, emergency exit lights are on and armed. And packs. Auto isolation valve open, APU bleed is on and are off. ARS mode selectors are in nav. Okay, we're set, so we can start setting up the FMC. Brian, you don't have a lot of experience with airliners, do you?
I do not. No. Although I've ridden in one before.
Ah, yes. Let's see if I can remember what gate I'm in. C19.
No, very little with the airliners. I think I've done one or two where I started with fully programming the FMC and kind of through the motions. But if you asked me to go through a checklist, I probably couldn't find 2/3 of the buttons.
Well, this is good then. All right, so we've got that in departure. All right, so this is actually the best time here. We're going to tune into Vegas ATIS. Let me actually make sure that my route is set up in Navigraph. It's off screen. There's Vegas to Denver. We'll set that up. Perfect. All right, so as you can see from the SayIntentions window, Vegas ATIS is going to be 132.4. I'm actually going to set that into COM 1 just because it's what I've got. 132 point. I'm using my Logitech radio panel to control this. 132.4. We'll pull that over.
Eft. Runway safety lights out of service. Control delivery combined on 121.1. Ground control combined on 121.1. Helicopter control open on 119.9. Advise on initial contact. You have information Tango. Las Vegas Airport information Tango. 0156 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. View at 10000 feet. Scattered at 12000 feet.
I should be writing this
Scattered
down.
at 16000 feet.
I can't even hear
Temperature 20.
Oh, I don't know if I'm piping it through.
it. Nah, it doesn't
Altimeter
matter.
tree 00 tree. Visual approach is in use. Landing runway 26 left and 1 left. Departing runway 1 right full length and 1 left at Bravo. Simultaneous apts to parallel runways in
Departing
use.
runways, run right,
No
1
tabs.
right full length.
Taxiway Alpha closed
3,
between Taxiway Alpha 2
0,
and Taxiway
0,
Alpha 3.
3.
Taxiway Alpha 2 closed between
That's what we're
runway
looking
26
for?
right and runway 26 left.
3003.
Runway safety lights out of service. Control delivery combined on
and then we'll swap
121.
over to clearance delivery on 118.0 while I set up the rest of this, just so we stop the ATIS. So Las Vegas departure, 1 right, we're on the Gidget 2 departure, transition Tucker is what we filed, and we will enter that in. Denver arrival right now, we're planning ILS 16 right, or 16 right, and we'll plan that from Kale, just to put a transition in, and we're on the Ski 3 arrival. Ski 3 16 Bravo transition bump. Execute. So that's what we'll put in if we get something if we get something different from clearance delivery, then we will put that in. So let's call up clearance delivery, see if they've got something ready for us. I had to get my scratch pad up. Got a craft scratch pad up. So clearance delivery 118.0. Biggest clearance, hello, Southwest 3474 is at Charlie 19 with information Tango, requesting our IFR clearance to Denver. And so it should be picking this up from my filed plan through SimBrief.
Southwest 3474 Las Vegas clearance cleared to the Denver airport via the KDEN departure 2 then as filed. Maintain 7000, expect flight level tree 5010 minutes after departure. Departure on 125.9er, squawk 1025. Expect runway 8 right for departure.
Alright, so give me a different runway, but I'll request runway 1 right, if I can. Southwest 3474 is cleared to the Denver airport via the Gidget 1 departure, then is filed. Correction, Gidget 2 departure, Tucker, then is filed. I maintain 7,000 feet. Expect flight level 350, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 125.9er and transponder 1025, Southwest 3474.
Southwest 3474, readback, correct?
And when we get on with ground, we'll request runway 1 right instead of 8 right, because we've got, let's switch back to ATIS and see what the winds are, because I forgot to write them down.
Ground control combined on
wind calm.
121.1 helicopter control open on.
Calm, so we can take either. 1 right will be a little bit easier for us. Alright, so let's start with our performance then. Go to our performance tool. Port 1 right. And we'll have our packs on, wait, takeoff flaps. We'll take the rate and import weather. So this is with live weather, but it is dark out, so all I've done is change the time in sim. I haven't changed the weather in sim. Alright, so we'll calculate. Performance in it. And 350. And from our flight plan, our reserve fuel, 6.1, 61, 6.1, cost index of 67, cruise wind 085 at 027, and ISO deviation positive 1, so minus 60, correction 53, 50 Celsius. Execute. And our N1 limit. Alright. Yeah, we're going to use takeoff rating, select temp 46 Celsius. And we'll use climb to do a perfect flaps 5, PG of 19.3, 146, 148, V2, 150. VREF, we have to come back in 154. We'll set those, and then we'll set our takeoff trim 5.81. Perfect. And just making sure these all climb. There's our climb, cruise 179, and our descent. Perfect. So setting up the FFC, we got our initial altitude, 7,000. runway heading. Look up the 014 and our speed V2 plus 10 160. Flight directors on, VNAV armed, LNAV armed. And we'll set terrain on the primary there. Transponder. What did I get? 1025? Zero, 2, 5, and that's okay. Perfect. That's ready to go. So let's take a look at our pushback here. I've never had the best of luck with PMDG's pushback tool. God, my frame rate's chugging so bad. The scenery is pretty ludicrous. We'll push back tail to our left, back to that first line. I'll turn that's left and those to right. Yep. Those to right. 2 degrees. Set. Move those chocks. Bring the tug in, and this is going to take everybody, all of our ground equipment away. That's the pressure. Alright, so we have our clearance. We'll run through that after takeoff. Transponder is set 1025, speed is set, heading set, initial altitude set 7,000, yaw damper is on, window heat is on, flight altitude, this is the thing about the 737 I always forget, glad it reminded me, this is why you use checklists, kids. 350. Landing altitude is going to be 5,550. Denver. 54. 50, yeah, 54. There's 5450. Touchdown altitude and landing altitude set. Flight directors are both on. LNAV and VNAV armed. Minimum reference bearings. We'll get to that. Altimeter set. Auto brake. We'll set to rejected takeoff. The taxi. Doors are closed. Let's check the outside for. Oh, it's gone away. Alright, so we'll set our radio to ground, 121.1. That's to ground, and we'll cue in tower, 118.75.
Gulfstream 671 Golf Sierra, taxi to runway 12 via taxiways Bravo and Delta.
Taxiing to runway 12 via Bravo and Delta Gulfstream 671 Golf Sierra.
So that chatter that you're hearing right now, that's canned, is built in, and right now it doesn't have any bearing on the actual layout of the thing. So the jetway didn't release. That's okay. All our doors are closed. That's a symbolism. That's alright. Alright.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead.
So we'll connect up the tug.
We've
Call
been
for push and
cleared for
start.
pushback and start. They want the tail to our left.
Falcon 762 Foxtrot Romeo, hold short of runway 10 traffic on short final.
Runway 10, Falcon 762 Foxtrot Romeo.
Vegas ground, SkyWest 3474 at Charlie 19 with information Tango requesting push and start.
Southwest 3474, Las Vegas ground, pushback approved, expect runway 8 right for departure.
Pushback approved, Southwest 3474, and I'd like to request 1 right for departure, if that's all right.
Brakes released.
Brakes released.
Southwest 3474, pushback approved, expect runway 1 right for departure.
Expecting 1 right for departures, SkyWest 34, direction Southwest 3474. Thank you. So if there's anything that you ever don't like about saying what SayIntentions.AI is giving you, you can always request something different. All right, APU. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's funny how we have a hard time getting people over that hump, right? Where they come in, they use it, they say, "Gosh, it did this thing," and how do I make it not do that? And it's usually something like, "Well, it gave me a runway I didn't want."
Gulfstream 671 Golf Sierra, follow the Embraer, then
and our
turn left
response
onto
is always the
taxiway
same. It's, well,
Foxtrot.
did you tell it you wanted something different? Like that's
Yeah.
what you would do in the real world, right? You would just say, "Oh no, I don't want that. Can I do it this other way?" And it's so funny how hard that is. How
Airbus
we've all been
450
so
Alpha Bravo,
like,
taxi to gate Bravo 7 via
taught
taxiway Delta,
and
hold short of
conditioned to
taxiway
believe
Echo.
that that's how all this stuff should work. Is it should all be on
Bravo
rails,
7 via Delta,
and
holding
our
short
stuff
of
just
Echo
doesn't work
Airbus
like that.
450 Alpha Bravo.
That's fantastic. Fuel is in, engine 1 is correction, engine 2 is started. Start 2, then start.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set.
Set parking brake.
Brake set.
And good start on 2, start 1.
King Air 145 Kilo Alpha, hold short of taxiway Charlie, waiting for clearance.
Goes N2.
Holding short of taxiway Charlie, King Air 145 Kilo Alpha.
Cessna 908 Charlie Echo, hold short of taxiway Echo,
That's
awaiting further
100%.
instructions.
Here's fuel.
Holding short of taxiway Echo Cessna 908
We
Charlie
have
Echo.
fuel flow in, EGT rise, and N1. Just realized I had the game audio down a little bit lower. Sorry about that. Alright, good start on 2.
Learjet tree Lima Juliet, hold position traffic on final approach.
Holding position Learjet tree Lima Juliet.
Check generator 1 and 2. 1.
Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha, proceed to holding point Charlie via taxiway
When
Bravo.
that happens,
Proceeding to holding point Charlie via Bravo Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha.
yep, we're on Gen 1 and 2. We've got our APU bleed off. Turn off the APU. Taxi lights come on and we'll set flash 5 for departure. Alright, before taxi checklist generators 1 and 2 are on probe heat. We've got auto, but we'll turn it on just to be sure. Gens 1 and 2 are on Pro Zone wing, anti-ice, and engine anti-ice not required. Tax or auto isolations, auto APU bleed, and APU are off. Engine start switches, pop those over to continuous for departure. Flaps are set 5, elevator trim set for takeoff. Flight controls. Flight controls are free and correct. Core display unit is off. Recall checked. And reset our fuel. We'll call for taxi. Ground Southwest 3474, request taxi, runway 1 right.
Southwest 3474, taxi to runway 1 right via Charlie Bravo Delta.
Taxi runway 1 right via Charlie Bravo Delta SkyWest 3474. And hey, that was actually almost exactly correct for taxi instructions too. We're working really hard on getting those even better, and the only thing that it missed was a runway crossing on Delta. Other than that, it was exactly correct. Charlie Bravo Delta to runway 1 right.
Learjet Tree Lima Juliet, give way to the Airbus on your right, then continue taxi via taxiway Alpha. Giving way to the Airbus, continuing taxi via Alpha Learjet Tree Lima Juliet.
Brian, I see you're lighting up in Discord, but I don't know if I can't hear you. If you're saying something.
No.
Cool.
No.
Your taxi
I have
instructions were
nothing
good.
to say to you. That's kind of surprising.
Yes. We're reworking those completely, as I mentioned, but there's still a little ways to go.
Yeah, and you know, this is a problem that everybody struggles with, right? There is just no good data on taxiways, and largely because in the flight sim world, all of the data that we have about airspaces and frequencies and airports and runways and all this stuff we get from the controlling authorities, right?
Right.
From the FAA and from ICAO and, you know, all these places that you know, publish this stuff. We get it all and we use it, we plug it into the simulator, and it all becomes very real. And we've gotten so used to that we have all forgotten that taxiway data is published by nobody.
Yeah.
And so Microsoft is, as far as I
Hawker
understand this,
511
the
Hotel
story
Alpha,
that I
hold short of
understand, and I have no
taxiway
idea if
Bravo,
this is
awaiting
true or not,
departure
but
clearance.
hit this problem when they were
Holding short of
kicking this thing
taxiway
out.
Bravo, Hawker
Realized there's
511
no
Hotel
taxiway
Alpha.
data for most airports in the world. Didn't even know where to place the taxiways, right? That's a huge problem, let alone
Hawker
what to call
511
them.
Hotel Alpha, hold short
When
of
you got
taxiway
88,000
Bravo,
airports,
awaiting departure clearance.
You can't just go in and
Holding
do it
short
by
of
hand.
taxiway Bravo,
And so they
Hawker 511
auto-generated
Hotel Alpha.
a lot of them, right? Like they just built a little program that would randomly create taxiways and give them names. And so what we've learned is that most of these auto-gen taxiway names have names like Alpha and Bravo, and like that's it. That's all they did.
And not
so,
only that, but
yeah.
they don't connect in a logical way a lot of the time.
Yep. Auto-genning taxi. I mean, they probably could have spent a little more time on this, but I totally get why they didn't, because it was all fake anyway, right? And someone probably said, well, if it's all fake, why even bother like taking it any further when it's not, you know, nobody's gonna like it anyway. And they're right.
So Lima Juliet, hold short of
we're
taxiway
all
Alpha
victims
traffic
of
approaching
this,
from your left.
including Microsoft to some extent, right?
Holding
Now you
short
can
of
buy
taxiway Alpha,
taxiway
Learjet
data,
Tree,
right?
Tree,
Companies
Tree,
like
Lima
Jeppesen
Juliet.
have it. You know, the big question is, all right, well, companies
Don't
like
mind
Jeppesen
me
have
just
it.
taxing through somebody else who just
Falcon
spammed on the
762
runway.
Foxtrot Romeo cross runway 24, contact ground on 121.6.
If you know, everybody asks,
Crossing
well,
runway
companies
24,
like Jeppesen have
contacting
the
ground
data.
on
How come
121.6,
you
Falcon
guys can't get the data?
762
Right? And the
Foxtrot
answer
Romeo.
is they pay insane amounts of money to get this data.
Right.
And you know, so where do they get it? Well, they actually pay people to open up airports in things like Google Earth and things like that, and they trace out the taxiways and like like do it all. So it's the equivalent of crowdsourcing, but they are the crowd is their own employees.
Yeah.
And that's how they can guarantee that it's correct, right? It has to be correct if you're Jeppesen and you're selling this data to, the airlines and to pilots, et cetera, et cetera. It's got to be right. So that's how they guarantee that it's right. But in exchange for that, they want an absolutely insane amount for this data, right? Okay, so that leaves the rest of us kind of sitting here and going, okay, now what? Well, I like our plan. We're doing the best we can with the data that we've got, and we've got a really good plan to do some sort of self-healing around that data and doing some, additional assumptions with, how taxiways ought to connect and what they ought to be called, et cetera, et cetera. Basically trying to sort of put a cleanup layer over the top of what we get from Microsoft.
Yeah, so question in clarifying that point, Brian, sorry to interrupt.
No,
we're going to use the data that's in the sim, right?
Yeah.
So that is correct to what
Learjet 333 Lima Juliet holds short of taxiway Alpha awaiting clearance to cross runway 18.
Real life in your charts, that depends on the accuracy of the scenery. But with the Microsoft World Hub coming out, we really hope that
Tornado 892 Tango Oscar holds short of taxiway hotel traffic on final approach.
We can hopefully correct.
Holding short of taxiway
well,
hotel
and it's a two-pronged approach here. Yeah, we decided that right or wrong, all the data is wrong anyway. So who's wrong?
Charlie Echo taxi to holding point Charlie Tree via taxiways Echo and Foxtrot.
Or the wrong, you got to pick one, right? So we decided to go with the wrong that's inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator because this is really, really important, and you alluded to it. That's what you see from the cockpit, right? You're seeing the wrong taxiways from the cockpit, and so we at least wanted the experience to match what you were visually seeing. Will it match what's on your apps like ForeFlight and things like that? No, because ForeFlight's correct. So we'll at least be wrong in agreement with Microsoft Flight Simulator to that extent. Now, we do have plans to take it even further and take a similar approach to what Jeppesen does, which is we're going to crowdsource this stuff. So if you are in an airport and the taxiway data is not right, you'll be able to go in and fix it yourself, and then of course the whole community will benefit from that. And I like that plan. I hated it at first because of the effort involved, and it basically involved admitting defeat, right? That just isn't a solvable problem.
Less admitting defeat, more choose your battles.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
All right, so I'm gonna call, make sure I'm clear to cross 26 right here, because of course that was the only thing that the AI missed for taxi instructions. But just like real life, if I'm not sure, call. Vegas ground, Skywest, Southwest 3474, holding short of 8 left. Request permission to cross 8 left at Delta. I'm going to keep calling it Skywest by accident, because I'm used to saying Skyhawk.
Southwest 3474, cross runway 8 left at Charlie, hold short, runway 1 right.
Cross runway 8 left and hold short 1 right. Southwest 3474. Alright, so clear to cross. It did say Charlie, but again, probably data issue.
Right, yeah. Now, this is an interesting case in point because you said, gosh, I got my taxi instructions and it didn't tell me to hold short of this runway. Well, what would you do in real life if that happened? What are you required to do, right?
If you don't
you can't cross the runway.
Exactly. If you do not hear cleared to cross, you cannot cross.
Right. Doesn't matter what was or wasn't in your taxi instructions. The end result here was exactly the same.
Yep. All right, let's run that before takeoff checklist, parking brake, whatever. We're taxiing, so we don't need to set that. Parking brake is removed. Fuel flow is on, is reset, then rate. Center fuel pumps are on. De-ice is off. Cabin lights are off. Flight instruments checked. Engine instruments are showing okay. Takeoff data is set. We're set VREF, correction V2 plus 10. Landing lights.
Learjet tree Lima Juliet, hold short of taxiway Alpha, awaiting further instructions.
We'll turn off.
Holding short of Alpha, Learjet tree Lima Juliet.
Transponder. Now set TA RA. And traffic is on. Now, in the United States, common misconception. In the United States, you do not need an explicit ground handoff to tower. So we're going to switch over to tower and grab our frequency, our departure frequency, which I cleared off, so I'm going to cheat here. 125.9er, yep.
Yes, sir.
I wrote it down and then cleared it out on my 4-flight scratch pad. 125.
Well, oh, do this. No, do this. What would happen in the real world if this happened and you didn't know what it was?
Yeah.
What would you do? You would ask,
tower,
right?
Southwest
Because the last thing you want to do
frequency
is go to the wrong departure frequency when they tell you to switch to departure, right? So you would just ask. You can do that if you want, or you can go to the, cheat and go back in time and look at your conversation.
Oh, I already asked.
I'm sorry.
I have auto mute on when I speak to ATC and Discord, so you can't hear me.
Southwest 3474
And there it
Las
is.
Vegas Tower. The for departure is
Frequency for departure
125.9.
1.9.
Come on, how cool is that? That definitely is not part of the script,
We're holding
right?
short
Pulling
of
up
one
there
right,
and,
ready for
and
departure.
asking a question. It's just so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're holding short now, ready for departure. I just called them up.
Southwest 3474, runway 1 right, line up and wait.
Line up and wait. Runway 1 right. Southwest 3474. Gonna line up and wait.
I love that.
I've got a little bit of a tailwind. We can accept that.
How much is it?
Tailwind's about 5 knots.
Well, that's your fault. You're the one that asked for that run.
I did. And so that's
like,
actually,
wait a minute.
That's actually something to highlight how SayIntentions actually understands winds, because the ATIS, of course, was pulled from real world sources, but SayIntentions tried to give me 8 right for departure because of the wind in sim. It's one of the few things that we can actually pull from the simulator weather-wise.
Mooney 824
So in
Fox
this-
Trot Delta cleared for
looked
immediate
at your
takeoff runway
in-sim
33.
wind and assigned you a runway that was different from the
runway
real-world
33,
runway
824
because
Foxtrot
your
Delta.
sim has the wind blowing the other direction. That's right.
Exactly.
Southwest 3474, winds 200 at 7. Runway 1 right, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 1 right, 3474. All right, here we go. We got a takeoff clearance, heels on the floor. Engines up.
Southwest 3474, cleared for takeoff, runway 1 right.
Clear for takeoff, 1 right, 3474. And toga. Press set. Airspeed alive.
knots. E1.
B1.
Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up.
Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray hold short of runway 25 traffic on final.
Holding short of runway 25 Skyhawk 542 Alpha X-ray.
Bonanza.
There's
64
Vegas.
Foxtrot
Bye-bye.
Alpha 2 cleared for takeoff runway tree 2. Cleared for takeoff runway tree 2. Bonanza 64 Foxtrot Alpha 2.
Start our right turn on the flight director. As soon as we roll out here, we'll get autopilot on and run that after takeoff checklist.
Southwest 3474 contact departure.
Contact departure 3474. See ya. Ops 1. Biggest departure. Hello, Sky. Southwest 3474. Climbing 4,300 for 7,000. Ups up.
Southwest 3474 Las Vegas departure radar contact. Climb via the SID. Not more than 225 knots until reaching flight level 130.
Climb via the SID, keep it at 225 or below until flight level 1, until reaching 13,000. SkyWest 3474. Alright, so we got a speed restriction. Let's see if we can, 225 is a little slow. Let's see if we can get to 15,000 quickly. Yeah, nice. Alright, so said climb via. Top altitude on that status 190.
By the way, if 225 is legitimately a problem, again, just like in real life, you know, if you were given an instruction that was
climb and
problematic,
maintain
you would
13,000.
I think if you did so in
Climb
this
maintain
case,
13,000, 3474.
give you what you wanted.
Absolutely. For right now, it's not really a problem until we get higher, but we can.
Yeah.
They only gave it to us
I can't-
until 13,000.
I can't count the number of times I've, you know, listened to or seen YouTube videos of, you know, real pilots, obviously, in ATC scenarios. You know, ATC will say something like, hey, I need you, you know, 280, and the pilot responds back, it's like, I can't. My jet will do like 260.
Unable. Yeah.
Yeah, unable. I don't know what to tell you. We model all of that, right?
Right. All right, gear up and off. Engine start switches are off. Gear lever is off. Turn off lights are off, and cabin lights are as required. Climb out checklist. Command A is engaged. Altimeter is set as 10,000 feet. Landing lights can come off.
Southwest 3474, climb and maintain flight level 190.
Climb maintain 190, Southwest 3474, and request unrestricted speed. Alright, so I just asked them, they cleared me to flight level 190, and I asked them to unrestrict our speed, so we can start our acceleration here.
Southwest 3474, climb and maintain flight level 190. Speed
look at that.
restriction is canceled.
Unrestricted.
Climb maintain 190, and cancel speed
How
restrictions.
cool is that?
SkyWest, Southwest 3474. Yeah, if there's ever anything you don't want, ask for something different.
Which is, again, I'm not preaching to you, but reiterating to folks who might be watching, that's how it works in the real world. We really try to model that.
Air traffic control is a partner with you. They're not your adversary. They are there to help you, and both of you are your partners in a safe flight, right? So if you need something for the safety of flight, then you ask them. And in the U.S., for Federal Aviation Regulations Part 91.3, you, the pilot in command, are the final authority as to the safety of flight, and you can deviate from any of the regulations in order to ensure safe flight. So if you need to do something different,
that's assuming you want to fill out paperwork, right?
Not necessarily. You only have to fill out paperwork by request.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Yeah, so if air traffic control wanted you to fill out a report, you know, or the FAA wanted you to fill out a report, then that's the only time that you're legally required to fill out a report. Now, your airline might have different policies, right? If you have to do anything different, then they might ask you to do something regardless.
Southwest 3474, climb and maintain flight level 260.
Climb and maintain flight level 260, Southwest 3474. We're getting actually really realistic climb out instructions here. Steps on up to our final altitude. 260 set. And we will reset our heading bug. This is one thing that's annoying about the 737 compared to the Airbuses. You have to reset that heading bug yourself. You know what, while we're climbing out,
United 1244,
let's
cleared the
say we
visual
go
27.
outside and take a couple screenshots. Because this is a screenshot simulator.
Southwest 3474, contact Los Angeles Center on 124.2.
Contact Los Angeles Center 124.2, Southwest 3474.
For those of you watching, this guy has the coolest collection of flight simulator screens that I've ever seen. Hundreds of these just gorgeous images. They're amazing.
The best way to do it is set up a controller for drone camera. All right, I got a contact center. LA Center, hello, Southwest 3474, climbing 17.7 for flight level 260.
Oh, sorry, I'll shut up.
The video can hear my contact, you can't.
I can't, yeah, I forgot to shut up. So.
Los Angeles Center, roger.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just got the roger. Go ahead.
Yep. No, I was going to say, is this going to be our first sort of unedited, uncut, end-to-end IFR flight?
If it comes out well.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not kid ourselves into thinking that the videos that are out there of uncut end-to-end IFR flights aren't like carefully curated.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I vote we post this either way.
Okay. Sounds good.
You heard it here. We're posting it either way. So if this all goes to hell in a few minutes.
It really helps with these screenshots that this area of the world has really good elevation data too. Really good elevation data and really good ground textures. Oh yeah.
Great shot.
Overhead Lake Mead right now. And I missed my altimeter handoff. There we go. And I wonder if we'll get it, but something to keep in mind, we do have, or SayIntentions does have a poor man's multiplayer right now, so if there's anybody near me on the same frequency, I will hear them.
Yep, that's
Anyone
right.
else is flying to Denver tonight?
We actually have a couple different versions of the multiplayer, which is, we can mention it here, we got nothing going on, but yeah, the one is if there's someone else on the same frequency as you within, 30, 40, 50, even 100 miles, we should, you should be able to hear them chatting with ATC. You'll hear them, you'll hear ATC, et cetera, et cetera. But there's another setting that we don't talk much about where, one of the biggest challenges with this kind of software is that Microsoft Flight Simulator is very lonely, right?
Yeah.
You're up there and you feel like you're just all by yourself and there's nobody else on the radio, et cetera, and you're like, wow, I'm the only airplane in the whole world. And it's not a realistic experience. So there's another multiplayer setting you can turn on where you can actually hear other SayIntentions pilots anywhere in the world, right? So if you're currently talking to a tower, you'll hear other pilots talking to a tower.
Southwest 3474, Los Angeles Center,
it's super
climb
cool.
and maintain flight level 340.
Climb, maintain, flight level 340, Southwest 3474. Just got flight level 340. Perfect. And yes, that's it's a setting that can confuse people sometimes if it's turned on inadvertently, but it does make
Southwest 3474,
make the
climb and maintain
skies a
flight
little bit
level
more, a
340.
little bit less lonely.
Well, there's another actually really practical reason for it, and that is that one of the skills of a new pilot on the radio is that radio is busy, right? There's a lot going on. That guy's, the ATC he's talking to a lot of different people at once, and it's your job to listen for your call sign. And I know that sounds silly, but it's a legit skill. You got a lot going on. There's other people in the airplane with you. There's lots of gauges, and you're supposed to be listening for your call sign from a guy who says everything in exactly the same tone, voice, and cadence, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we model that. Like, you have to listen for your call sign, and it's really cool.
I think I have that setting turned off right now. I'm gonna turn it on.
Yeah, turn it on. You can always turn it back off again, right?
Yeah. All right. So I've turned that on now, And now we'll hear anybody who's on a center. Correct?
Correct, uh-huh. And it's a Monday night, which is our slowest time on the network. But yeah, I think you're going to hear people. Now, they have to have multiplayer turned on as well.
Yeah.
And this is really important that, because there's a lot of people who come to Say Intentions because they've been on the live ATC networks and, mic fright, right?
Absolutely.
I get it too. I don't like squeezing up the mic.
That was one of the central tenets of the, of deploying this, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why.
Yeah.
Why you decided to make this.
Yes, it was mic fright. It was this idea that, look, we know there's all these networks out there where you can talk to a real air traffic controller and they're really neat, but man, it's just something horrifying. And I go through it too. Go to squeeze the mic and you sit there and you get your heart starts going a little faster and you're rehearsing what you're going to say and it's like, man, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, and then you get on the mic and you say it completely wrong.
Yeah. So we allow that, right? If you don't want other people to hear you, you can just turn the thingy off. But if you don't mind, participating in the chatter, right? Letting your voice help other people through the other side of this, turn it on and there you go. But you can do it both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you know, we've been highly protective of that ability to quote unquote opt out of having your voice on the network.
Mm-hmm.
RNAV 3 into Grand Canyon, TBM.
Hey, so someone's actually nearby. That was a TBM on LA Center requesting an RNAV. We're getting cleared for an RNAV into Grand Canyon Airport, which is, if we take a look, I don't think it's actually.
Oh no, you probably would have heard him without flipping the letter. Yeah, you probably would have heard him on the same frequency. They're probably the same person you are.
Yeah. And if you're ever curious, I think I might be able to demonstrate this.
Catbird 4 Bravo Delta descend and maintain 14,000.
Oops, I've accidentally turned on the intercom. Well, maybe we'll showcase the intercom in a little bit.
Oh, are you on the newest one? Are you on the newest version? Yes. I love this.
For direct saver, click RNAV runway 3 approach your Grand Canyon cleared to direct harm.
So we have this. Aha, perfect. You can see it. So we've got this flight tracker that. So you can see everyone in the world. So this is a Monday night. There's
Baron
me.
ZG descend and maintain flight level 120.
There's another Southwest that just took off from Vegas not long before myself, actually. And there's our TBM. There's our friend in the TBM there, coming into Grand Canyon.
You can see him?
I can see him on the map.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can see him on the tracker here.
That's so cool.
And this is a Monday night on Say Intentions. We got dozens of people.
Oh, we hit over 100 simultaneous flights over the weekend.
Did we? That's incredible.
Yeah. Honestly, we say that now, but people are watching this in a few weeks. We're going to laugh at that number. We're growing extremely fast.
Frighteningly fast in some ways.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I think it's safe to say that, at this point, our scaling is pretty solid.
Oh, no, I'm not worried about, servers and scaling and, gosh, will everything handle. The answer is yes, it's fine. But, and even from a support standpoint, we just don't get that much, that many problems coming anymore.
Yeah.
It was, it was what it was during the early part of our beta, but as we are approaching kind of the latter part of the beta, it's all really quite calm now.
It really is. I'm going to see
by the way,
if Center's going to give me my final cruising altitude here. It gave me 340. I want full 35. Center Southwest 3474 request climb to 350. Maybe they had somebody else that was a little bit slow. They were trying to climb me on top of that TBM or something. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Southwest 3474. Climb and maintain flight level 350.
Oh, look at that.
Climb, maintain 350, Southwest 3474. I mean, we're not even at 320 yet. We're heavy, it's hot, we're climbing slowly, but...
Southwest 3474. Climb and maintain flight level 350.
Roger, 3474, 350. So, Brian, I hope you don't mind me asking here. We've seen in this flight so far a couple instances of that little bug right there, which is repeated instructions.
Oh yeah.
So that's got something to do with the AI not understanding what a readback is, right?
That's right.
Southwest 3474.
This is so funny because
flight level 350.
of all the challenges that we faced in building a machine learning neural AI that can do, this insane stuff that you've already witnessed, in a million years, would you ever have guessed that the single hardest challenge of using an AI-based ATC is detecting when something is a readback?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I can give you an example.
Yeah.
I can give you an example of this that sort of hits home for most people. Let's say you're in a small plane and you call tower and you say, I'm 10 miles to the north, inbound to land, full stop. And tower responds back and says, enter left downwind, runway 17, report midfield, right? Normal. You reply back and say, left downwind, 17 midfield. That's your readback, right?
Right.
Left downwind, 17 midfield. Now, once you're left downwind, 17 midfield, you say to ATC, left downwind, 17 midfield. Now, they're exactly the same phrase. The first one is a readback. The second one is not. Right?
Yeah.
It's precisely the same words, right? Now, you can argue things like, oh, well, why don't you just detect it if they said the exact same thing? Or, if ATC says something and you repeat it back word for word, then it's a readback. And the answer is, yeah, we can do all of that. But all of that implies that you, the pilot, now have to change your behavior to match the model. Right.
To match the air traffic control software.
Yeah, to match
artificial air traffic control software.
You now have to behave in a fake way.
Right.
Because the software requires it, right?
Because
when
I do a readback, accommodate something realistic.
Right. And one of the things that we're so proud of is that you can do this your way, right? In the real world, pilots don't read back word for word what ATC says. They just don't do that. They do more like what I described, 17 midfield, thank you, right? Now, that's it. That's a readback. And by the way, that would be perfectly valid to read it back like that. And so, if it works that way in the real world, it ought to work that way with our stuff too. The second you have to say, oh, it's fake air traffic control, therefore I need to remember to do X.
Right.
The immersion's gone, right? We ruined it.
And we take that as a sign of. I mean, it's not as good as it could be, right?
Exactly. So this is one of those bugs that I say, bear with us.
Right.
We know the issue, right? And by the way, 2 months ago it was 10 times worse than it is now.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
As someone who's been around for a while, yes, it very much was.
Yeah, and so, if it was 10 times worse 2 months ago, and we continue to make progress, guys, we're going to get this out. Right? There might be 1 out of 100 that it does this with it, but we continue to make improvements. So my advice to anybody who hears that and goes, oh, I don't know, it doesn't understand, is relax. This thing's brand new. like, we just pulled the plastic off of it, right?
The other thing that I find hilarious is how it exposes something that I find really funny about generative AI, and that is that the AI, if you feed it something, large language models right now cannot fathom that you could be saying something to it and not want a response.
Right. In fact, if you want an interesting experiment, probably most of the people watching this have a ChatGPT account, right? Pull up your ChatGPT account, and in the window, I want you to type something to the effect of, I'm going to give you an instruction, but no matter what, I don't want you to reply to this message. No matter what. Hit enter. It will reply. It'll say something like, I understand. And you're like, no, I told you not to reply. And so, to some extent, that's what we face with this, right? Like GPT, for example, just really can't understand this concept of you telling it something and then not wanting to hear something back.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't make sense to it. The entire system is designed to respond to you. Now, we also hear things like, well, can't you just make it so that if ATC gives you an instruction, you automatically assume that the next thing said is a readback? I've heard that one before too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible.
You can't do that.
No, because when ATC gives you an instruction, you now have the opportunity to respond to the ATC and say yes or no, right? Now, a readback is a yes, but what about a no?
Yeah.
Right? Cleared to land runway 27. Whoa, I'm not landing.
We couldn't handle unable. We wouldn't be able to handle any changes when I requested that runway 1 right. We wouldn't be able to do that.
You got it exactly right. So then they say, well, you should just look at keywords to assume it's a readback. Like if they say cleared to land runway 27, and then in the response you say cleared to land runway 27, then you know it's a readback, right? Easy. Yes, except what if you say ATC says cleared to land runway 27, and you respond cleared to land runway 27. Oh, by the way, could I make this a touch and go?
Right.
Well, if we used the model of just matching up words, we would throw that instruction away because now we thought it was a readback when it was only a half readback, right?
Right.
You read back the first part, but now you're asking for something new. And so, honestly, this is a really hard problem. We'll get it. I'm not worried about it. This isn't something I lose a lot of sleep over. We're making progress on it all the time. But menu-based ATC systems, the ones that are on Rails, which, by the way, is all of them, except this one, they get around this by doing what I just described, keyword matching, right? So if you said the correct words and numbers, then it just goes, okay, it's a readback. But then they throw away the rest of your request. Or, and this is even more cheating, you just press a button on your keyboard to do the readback.
I was gonna ask you about that because we've had a lot of suggestions. Well, you could just implement a Roger button. I don't like that.
Kills me, right? I don't want to do that. I want it to work right. Right. How about instead of implementing a workaround, we just make it work right? That's what I'd rather do.
Yeah. On another note, while Brian and I were just talking there, you probably heard TBM November 977 Delta Whiskey. We just passed basically right over them as they're starting their approach into Grand Canyon.
That's cool.
And you could hopefully hear the controller. No, well, I mean, we're at flight level 350. They're at 9,000 feet. So I'm glad we didn't get an advisor. That would be a bug. But you could probably hear the controller talking to them and assigning them headings and clearances to the RNAV waypoint.
That's so cool.
They're starting an approach into Grand Canyon right now.
It's so cool. Every time I fly with this thing, it puts a smile on my own face, right? It does something, and I'm like, that's so cool.
So right now, I mean, we're flying, we're in cruise right now. We've got probably about an hour to kill until things start to get interesting on the approach again. What do you want to talk about? What's SayIntentions currently? What are you focusing on right now?
I don't know. There's tons of things we could talk about. Yeah. How's your mom?
Oh, she's actually doing really good.
Good. She's a super lady.
I'm sure.
No. No. Yeah. Look, we have no. People always ask us, when will it be done? I'm like, what do you mean done? I don't even know what that word means. Right now, we're obviously working on, buttoning up IFR. And I know that sounds silly to say when we're sitting here doing an IFR flight to show off IFR.
That has, so far, I will say, been quite good. Knock on wood.
I mean, other than crappy taxi, which isn't IFR's
But it wasn't that
fault.
crappy.
No, it wasn't that bad. It was fine. It was fine. And yeah, we're walking around the cabin now. I love this. This is so cool. I've never wandered around one of these. Huh.
This is the Southwest Airlines experience.
But, you know, IFR still needs plenty of work just to support the, you know, all of the base cases that are out there. But the, you know, the normal IFR flying is actually
Southwest 3474, contact Denver Center on 127.55.
Contact Denver Center 127.55, 3474. See ya. And I just got my handoff to Denver. Sorry.
I'm cheating by watching the logs scrolling by me here as you're flying.
Oh.
Because I can't hear it, I figured I would at least see what they're saying on the screen here. No, so IFR still needs a little bit of work.
2 seconds to call in. Denver Center, hello, Southwest 3474 at flight level 350. By the way, you do not need to say with you. Everybody says with you, and if you say with you, you make the real-life controllers mad.
No, in fact, this is actually a good time for maybe a mini air traffic control lesson, which is the general rule of thumb with air traffic control is never use a word that you don't have to use. Right? And that's hard for people because that's not how we communicate with one another normally. We always use filler words. Let me give you an example. You're on departure and you're calling to check in with departure, right? So tower just handed you off to departure and you're checking in. Humans want to say, good morning, departure. This is Delta 1221, currently at 1,500 feet, and I'm climbing to 9,000 feet. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with that. All the information is there, right? But think about how many words were said that didn't need to be said. Here's the more correct way to do that. Departure, Delta 1221.
1,500
climbing
5,000.
Yes. 1,500 for 5,000. Right. All the information is in that, but you used 90% fewer words. Right?
Right.
And the idea is that in the air traffic control world, air time is precious. Right? There's only, everybody in the sky has to share the same amount of time on the radio with one another. So the fewer words you can use, the more time is available for everybody else to use. So it's just good etiquette to use the fewest number of words possible.
Exactly. Clear and concise communication. Let's see if PMDG modeled the bathrooms here. No,
This is
I can't
crazy.
go into
I
those.
have never I can't even imagine. This is so cool.
So this is the PMDG 737-800.
Can we smoke in the lavatory?
No fumar en los baños.
Well, I guess that answers that question.
Come on, Brian. Haven't you ever heard a safety announcement before?
This is great. This is really, really cool.
Magazine.
You can sit in the seats. This shows how much time I've spent in these airliners. What's the entertainment? They should have the map, the moving map on there.
They should. I mean, the PMDG did not give us a moving map screen on the 737.
All right. Now let's be clear though. If they had spent their time and frankly your money, right, because you bought this airplane, building a moving map into the seat back, I'd be furious if it was me. I'd be like, come on, guys.
You say that, Brian, but any builds Airbus A300 does, and it's correction A310 does, and it's free in the base sim.
That is insane.
7 Delta Whiskey, contact Canyon Tower on 119.0.
It's ridiculous. So, question for you, Brian. I guess I'm gonna go into interview mode here. Why not? We got
sure. Why not? Yeah.
When I did, if you guys haven't read it already, I'll link it in the description of this video, or we'll link it in the description of this video. I write for fsnews.eu and did an interview with Brian before the initial beta release of SayIntentions. Go read that and then listen to this question. How have your priorities in development changed since then? We talked a lot about what you wanted to do and what your roadmap was, and then SayIntentions has completely morphed.
That's true, actually. We also, I think I actually don't remember what I said back then.
Well,
I'm
let's
sure it was.
find out.
I'm sure I was young and naive 3 months ago.
Well, you were basically saying, we
November
don't really have
672,
plans for
Bravo Charlie
IFR.
climb and maintain 10,000.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness!
Climbing to 10,000.
All right,
November
well,
672, Bravo Charlie.
I meant it at the time. I know I did. Yeah, it's funny. So much of what we've done, I thought would take
Jacksonville
longer
Center,
than it
we
did,
are requesting
right?
the ILS.
I
runway
really
26
was
approach
looking at the state that
into
we were in with
Jacksonville.
trying to do general aviation VFR, which, by the way, is
Catbird 4,
exceptionally
Bravo
difficult
Delta.
because
Yeah.
nothing is scripted. And it ended up being, we got it done, but it ended up being, I would say, as difficult as I thought. But many of the things that we added afterwards, we got done way faster than I thought we would. It turns out that having a solid foundation in this idea of an unscripted, non-rails world, which is VFR general aviation,
Cleared for the ILS
really
runway
lended
26
itself well
approach.
to being able to
into
rapidly
Jacksonville.
add features
Fly
going
heading
forward.
349er.
Because we had such a solid
Descend
foundation
and
in
maintain
what is the
2,000
most difficult part
until
of
established
aircraft,
on the localizer.
adding the rest of this stuff ended up not being as difficult as I would have initially guessed. And so therefore, after we'd knocked out a number of things much faster than I thought we would,
Like
we
what?
were sort of sitting there going, well, just as an example, the tour guide feature, for example, where, and that's a classic sort of general aviation VFR feature where you can be flying along and because the V in VFR stands for visual, right? You're looking at things, so you're flying around and looking down and, hey, that's cool, and that's cool. Hey, let's fly over there and check that out. It's very different from this kind of flying, right, where you're up so high you can't see anything anyway. But in tour guide mode, you're flying around, and there's like a virtual tour guide sitting next to you telling you all about the things that
Catbird
you're
4, Bravo
you're
Delta,
flying
Roger.
around. Not only that, you can ask them
Contact
questions,
Jacksonville approach on
and they'll answer the questions. It's
118.175.
amazing. It's amazing. It's like having Wikipedia sitting next to you, like talking about things that you're looking at. We got that done, I think, in 24 hours.
Yeah.
From the time we started it until the time we launched it. And we've had a number of other things that have, fallen into that same bucket. And eventually we just hit a point where we said, should we do IFR? Like, we might as well. Like, that's the next thing if we want to continue to expand. And one of the things that did surprise me, and I admit that I wasn't looking at the data, but the response to IFR has been, people are just so excited about it. But I will say that I'm still super grateful that we started with GA-VFR because the foundation that we got for non-scripted, non-rails, it's made all the difference as we move to the IFR world. By the way, the IFR world, it's so much easier than VFR, not just because it's highly scripted, but also because all data's there. Like, everything you could ever want is published, updated, available, and it's precise, right? Like, in the VFR world, there's a lot of negotiation that goes on between pilot and air traffic control. A lot of negotiation. In the IFR world, and from the time you sit down in your seat until the time you deboard the aircraft, the entire script of that flight is known.
Assuming nothing goes wrong.
Sure.
Like
but the great thing
what
about
just happened when the Microsoft Flight Sim weather strikes again and suddenly changes the wind at flight level 350. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Nice.
Continue.
You can't phase that in, huh? No, but yes, what you described, exceptions in flight. Well, general aviation is nothing but exceptions in flight, right?
Right.
And so the fact that we were able to support it there comes into the IFR world where everything is, scripted and known. And now when there's an exception, we handle it great.
So emergencies are supported, right?
Absolutely. In fact, emergencies, diversions, all that, that kind of stuff is something that a lot of people come in on their first day of a subscription, and that's the first thing they do, right? Which I always kind of laugh at, but I'm like, nah, I'd do the same thing if it was me. They get up and they, simulate an engine out or something like that, and it's awesome. The ATC is it is like chef's kiss, just so good.
It is.
And
the ATC really, really wants to be, it desperately wants to be a helpful, good air traffic controller and give you everything that you want.
It just wants, it wants to be awesome for you.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, how most real air traffic controllers are too. They really want to help you out, right?
Absolutely. Now that can cause some problems sometimes, right? When the air traffic control gets a little bit too helpful, when the AI does at least.
Yeah, it's one of those things where and people have asked what it's like to program an AI, and the best description I can give you is that it's like trying to teach a toddler how to be an air controller, right? A really enthusiastic toddler.
A really enthusiastic toddler with a remarkable grasp of language.
Boy, that's for sure. I'm just curious. You said that you're clearly thinking of something where the AI is trying a little too hard to be super cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a specific scenario?
Well, if you think about like the RNAV practice approaches that we were doing the other night.
Yeah. We were writing code. I want to be clear on this. We were actually writing code.
So we're not writing code right now. I want to make that absolutely clear. Brian's just sitting and observing.
My keyboard's on the other side of the room. I mean, I can see the screen, but that's
Los Angeles Center, Southwest 1646, at flight level 320.
Yeah, so what's that what's that troubleshooting and iteration process like? Have you built yourself what's the suite of tools like that you've built yourself to be able to iterate and follow people? And
I've got a lot of magic bullets when it comes to this, but a lot of it comes down to, I get it. I don't want to necessarily get into the subscription pricing discussion, but one of the nice things about the way that we are modeled is that we use, servers, cloud compute, all modern infrastructure, right? This thing can't run on your PC. Your PC would melt.
A lot of people have asked about that. Like, can I use my own GPT key?
Yeah, no. The problem is this, when it comes to, if you say, gosh, I don't like the price, can I bring my own GPT key and then, have it? And the answer is GPT is only one of about 4 different AI services that we use. So this is truly like an orchestration effort. And no, bringing your own GPT key would confuse things more than it would do anything else. But we've also had people ask, can't I just use it in offline mode and download it to my computer? I have a 4090. What's the problem? And it's like, listen, you would need about 1,000 4090s before this thing would run on your computer.
And with people complain about the response time. With any reasonable response time, you need a server.
Oh yeah, it's funny. Okay, let's assume for a second that we could somehow get this thing to run on a single PC. I have no idea how we would do that, but just assume for a second that we could. Do you know what it would do to your frame rates?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have any computer left to run Flight Simulator. So there's a couple things that are worth pointing out. The one is anything that you can download and run on your local PC without the assistance of cloud infrastructure is not AI. I'm sorry, whatever you've been told, it's not. It can't be. So if you can download it and run it in like offline mode or something, you don't have AI. You have menus that you can choose from, and that's just that's just how it works.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's something that is kind of a marketing thing that Microsoft perpetuates in a way as well, and so many companies do, because for example, Microsoft calls the traffic in the sim AI traffic. It is not AI. Their AI air traffic control is not AI. It's just
A, not AI. Yeah. There's nothing intelligent about it. Yeah. That's right. No, and I get it. I get that the term is overused and misapplied and all this stuff. But man, it's tough when we have something that nobody else can do here. And when there have been products in the market for the entire life of Microsoft Flight Simulator and other simulators, that this is just how everybody's used to it. You download the program, you run it on your computer, and away you go. And if we're going to graduate into the world of modern technology, we're going to have to get away from that style of thinking, because we all want our computers to be really fast. And until we move to that kind of model where we can rent other computers while we're in flight, you're going to be stuck with what your computer can do, which ain't much, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
So I like our model because it allows us to do all kinds of nutty things. But this started with a question of you asking about what kind of tools I have.
Yes.
So I apologize. we got off track a little bit.
I've put you off. I've put you off rails just like SayIntentions.
There we go. No, but where I was going with it was because of that model, because we use centralized compute and cloud infrastructure and all this stuff. We have an insane level of visibility into the usage on this thing, which is one of the reasons that we can develop so darn fast, right? Is because I can sit right smack in the middle of all the activity going on the network and spot problems, right? Oh, that's not right. Oh, it shouldn't be doing that. Oh, that poor person over there, they got a bad instruction. And as I'm sitting here watching all of this, oftentimes I'm fixing things while people are flying. Right, so I'll see someone have an experience and I go, oh, that wasn't quite optimal. Rip open the code and quickly fix it and then deploy the fix, often before they've even landed. And so, yeah, the model that we've taken has some enormous advantages. And if I could summarize that advantage, it would be we kick out updates every day. Every single day I push out either bug fixes or new features or things like that, new things that it does every day, 7 days a week. We're pushing out new things. Nobody else is doing anything like that, right? And that's a result of the model that we've adopted here. So the tools that I have, yeah, they're all like hyper detailed visibility into the sort of AI brain.
Southwest 3474 Denver Center traffic at your 10 o'clock
is one of the top debugging tools that we have. Of course, we've got some tools that are available to everybody too.
Hey, I just got a traffic advisory. 10 o'clock.
Look at you.
5 miles, same altitude.
Do you see it? Is it there? It should be there.
It should be. It might have. Yep. There it is. Traffic in sight is 3474.
That's so cool. He's probably no factor, but we have the. No, you see him blinking out there.
UPS 805.
I don't think in the real world you would have gotten a traffic advisory for that, but I have the sensitivity on that pretty wide.
And he is on TCAS. I do see him on TCAS as well.
But it's still super cool to get him, and so I leave it cranked up, where, gosh, at 5 miles just to get a traffic advisory because it's fun, right?
It is. I mean, that's one of the things too. It's like, it's fun to interact with ATC. We do charge, a reasonable amount, and what fun is it to, be paying for AIATC and then never hear your AIATC?
American 3.
Yeah, you want to talk to him, right? Or, well, I won't get into the price. maybe at some point we can do an interview just on the pricing, because I'd love to. I mean, I really would love to explain it and help people understand how we got to where we are and why it's the way it is and what we're doing about it and all of those things. But I'd rather have fun on this flight.
For sure.
So we do have some tools that I use that are available to everybody. Like our flight tracker, for example, where you can go to our website and pull up a moving map of every airplane on the network, and you can see and hear them. And so you get a really quick sense for, what it's like to be a SayIntentions pilot, because you can hear ATC.
American 308 Delta Echo landing Melbourne.
That's one example of a tool that I use, because if I'm diagnosing a particular problem, I'll zoom in on their flight, and so I can just see and hear that one person. And then, of course, I've got, debug logs scrolling that are showing me what's going on with that flight. And the cool thing is when I fix a bug for one person, of course, everybody benefits, right? And you don't have to upgrade all the time and constantly downloading a new app. No, you get my fixes when I push them out. Again, sometimes mid-flight.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. That's so cool.
The pace of development is so quick around here. Like, you mentioned like the tour guide, for example, and that's a great example of how quickly something goes from, oh, that would be a cool idea, to, and here it is in the announcements. It's in.
Yeah, and that's a reflection of, I'm sure we're going to have people listen to this that are software engineers, but that's a reflection of a lot of time and effort being put into the framework up front, right? Really carefully planning how this thing was going to work and how it was going to interact and how it would scale and all of those things. We're now seeing the payoff for that, right? Which is we can innovate faster than anybody. We can add new features faster than anybody. We can debug faster than anybody. All because in the early days of this project, before anybody had even heard of us, before we even had decided what our name was going to be, frankly, before we had even decided we were going to launch this, a huge amount of work went into the, you know, the foundation, right? The framework, the scaffolding for all of this. And it's so cool now as a developer to see us hitting, you know, to see that all paying off, right? And to see how fast we can respond now as a result of the work that we did early on. It's really cool.
So how big is that team? Tell me a little bit about
American 8.
It all depends on how you want to look at it. But early on, it was for those who don't know our origin story. This started out back in July of 2023. So what is that? 9 months ago. It's hard to believe.
Something like that, yeah.
9 months ago, I called up my dad. My dad is a retired C# programmer. You know, now he just fiddles around the house and kind of does his thing. But I called him up and said, hey, by the way, my dad is an avid flight simmer. Because of him, I've had flight simulator in my house since I was, you know, 6 years old. Back in the days when it was, I must say the early 80s. You know, really the first generation of this stuff I've been using because of him since I was a little kid. So he loves his flight simulator. He's tried the network ATCs, you know, VATSIM and the others that are out there, and they're okay, but he just doesn't like the anxiety that comes with talking to a real person and wanting everything to be just right. He's just trying to have fun. So I called him up back in July. I'm an AI engineer. Called him up and said, hey, I've got this really cool idea. Like, what if we built like a really slick little air traffic control thing using, and you know, I rattled off a couple of AI technologies that we could roll together. And, you know, would that be cool? Do you think that would be useful? You wouldn't have to use like VATSIM and these others anymore, and it would just be an AI that you were talking to. I said, if you could build me, Dad, like a little like Windows application that talked to Microsoft Flight Simulator for us and hooked up the headset and the microphone and fed it to a server, like we could build this really fast. 30 days in and out. Reminds me of that Rick and Morty meme, right? 30, what was it, like, I don't remember, 4 hours in and out or something. Anyway, in and out, we'll build this thing. It'll be so cool. Well, we got 30 days into it, and it worked. And it was really cool. Like, no lie. Like I remember we kind of got it at the 3-week mark, the 4-week mark. I was like, this thing is fun. I love flying with this thing. I wasn't very good at what it did, but the experience was there, right? You felt like you were talking to a person. So, I remember I showed it to a buddy of mine at the 1 month mark, and he thought I was messing with him. Like, he legit thought I was playing a prank on him, and that, like, maybe I had a keyboard tucked on the side, and I was typing in, you know, what to make it say. And once he realized it wasn't a prank, he's like, you gotta sell this. Like, people would get nuts for this thing. Oh, you got your handoff there.
Yeah, stand by. There's a handoff. Contact Denver Center 127.1, Southwest 3474. So, yep. By the way, that's one of my favorite things is being able to say "see ya" to the controllers.
I love it.
Denver Center, hello, Southwest 3474.
Are you tuned in on guard, by the way?
350. Oh, I'm not. Let's
crank it up.
Let's get COM 2 over here, VHF 2.
Southwest 3474, Denver Center, roger.
This is, there you go, you're checked in. This is one of those fun things, and I'll spoil the surprise here. He's going to hear meowing on guard. Meow. Which, if you're a pilot, you know exactly what's going on. If you're not, Google it, meow on guard. But this thing is loaded with Easter eggs like this. I mean, there's tons of them that people are discovering all the time. Most of them are a direct reflection of my horrible sense of humor, but this particular one's funny. Anyway, we got 30 days in. It was super cool. I love flying with it. This guy, a friend of mine, convinced me to try to bring it to market. And what was it? About 3 months later, when I made a post on Reddit and said, hey, I'm building this little like ATC AI thing. I can use some people to help me beta test it. Right?
Called something completely different at that time.
Yeah, it had a different name that we didn't know we could use.
American 8, Delta Echo contact Melbourne Center on 122.4.
I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. I just want to be very clear in this video because we just heard somebody calling Melbourne Center and getting a response from Melbourne Center. We're only hearing people in Melbourne, Australia because I have the setting enabled that allows me to do that.
Yeah, you're hearing the multiplayer chatter and so on. Yeah,
in case anybody forgot that from earlier in the stream or didn't catch it, or earlier in the video didn't catch it. That's not.
No, I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah, that's not normal. That's not a default setting. He's turned that on so that you can
it's something for
intentionally
color.
make it sound crowded. Yeah, it adds
Yeah.
color. It's a great way to put it. Anyway, we got, back in October, I posted a little thing on Reddit and said, hey, I'm looking for some people to just help me out here. We got absolutely lambasted with that post, and it was very discouraging, actually, because we had people say, you're wasting your time, and that can't be real, and it can't be as good as you say. Even though I had like a cool little demo video that I did not fake, by the way.
Yeah.
But boy, I got accused of faking it, right? It was, I was like, man, there's Reddit for you right there. I need to go find that original post and frame it on my wall or something. Anyway, some others jumped in and said, hey, I'd love to help you out. And now, originally it was me and my dad. My son has now jumped in. He's 16, and he's helping us with some of the Discord automation, helping to automate the management of the community. That's been really cool to watch him sort of learn to code a little bit with Python. My dad continues to build the application that you download. That's his baby. I do the bulk of the AI work. Now we've got people like Ryan who are helping us with both server optimization, as well as he's actually tackling the taxi problem now, and he's got a really, really smart solution for that I'm very excited about. We've got, wait, I don't know if I started mentioning everybody, I'm going to get in trouble, but we've got an amazing team. Oh, we've got Mr. McCracken, who's now handling all of the voice engineering for us, and he's just taken to that at incredible level. Of course, you're helping us tremendously with a lot of the testing, which has been invaluable. But we've probably got a whole bunch of people now that I would consider critical contributors to the project. So we've got a pretty good sized team now.
Awesome. But the core of it is still you and your dad and now your son, which I think is
that's right.
Super awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're getting close to, we're about 90 miles out from our calculated top of descent. Now that might not be the top of descent that air traffic control gives us, but this is a good time to start setting up for that approach.
Start telling your passengers to shut up so you can do your job.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about arrival stuff here going in, but one of the things to get ATIS this far out, SayIntentions does have Denver International's ATIS here, but I really like this website, datis.cloud.io, because it has the real world digital ATIS for.
Can you pull it in anyway? If you're in range, you'll see the DATIS. I don't know.
I'm 100 and some odd miles out.
Yeah, you're probably a little too far out.
Yeah.
We should model that. We should add that, because all of our ATIS is based on real world MEDAR and real world DATIS information.
Yeah. So we should be able to pull this in
DATIS or DATIS?
DATIS.
Okay.
Digital
That's what
ATIS.
I thought.
So here's what I can say. Expect offset INS nav approach 16 right. So this is what I am expecting. Maybe a 16 left, but I'm expecting that RNAV approach 16 right. So we'll key that in. I'd put the ILS in to start when we were on the ground.
American Tree 50 traffic alert. Climb immediately to flight level Tree 40.
RNAV.
Climbing immediately to flight level 340, American Tree 50.
Zulu 16 right. RNAV Zulu 16 right. Transition cliff, because that'll connect right back to my arrival.
Beechcraft 728 Romeo Juliet, report position.
Right to the arrival, so
currently 30 miles west of VOR Alpha Charlie Echo. Beechcraft 728 Romeo Juliet.
Double check that I've sequenced correctly. Full K2 ski. All right, yeah. So we haven't quite sequenced correctly. We still got that vector in there. So we will take this, put you there. We'll clear out that disconnect. Now we might get something slightly different, and you'll notice if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you'll notice that this RNAV looks a little bit different from what it is on the actual chart. That RNAV on the chart's a nice radius to fixed leg there at 7,000 feet, but the PMDG 737 still cannot fly those radius to fixed legs, so I might end up doing that manually, disconnecting the autopilot there. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up being been years, I've promised it, but still don't have it. Okay, but we are sequenced incorrectly. So then our in-range checklist engine instruments are all set. Fuel quantity, our pumps are on. We are showing 6,200 in each tank. That looks correct. Beta snare torque information is checked. Altimeter is checked. We'll set to what was the ATIS altimeter here, 3014 is where it was. So we'll set that in standby. 3014. Radios are set MCP altitude. We'll come back down. We can't actually reset that till we get descent clearance. Approach speed reference. Yes, so here now we need to do some performance calculations. Favorite part of any flight. Landing on route 16 right. Conditions are dry. Import our aircraft details here. And we'll land flaps 30. Let's look at that airport chart. We're going to be in the C gate, so we want to vacate Delta 5 if we can on 16 right. So yeah, I think auto brakes.
American 8, Delta Echo contact Melbourne approach on 132.0.
And VREF add 5. Yep, packs on and gas off. Reverse configuration. All operational, and we'll import weather of Denver. In excess of structural. Oh, that's right, because I have my actual. So what's our current weight? Fuel on board 11.4 from our zero fuel weight. Then is going to be 135.714. 147. Yeah, 146.
Southwest 3474 Denver Center. Descend via the
Hey, there's my descent
arrival.
There's my descent
Expect the RNAV runway 16 left approach into Denver.
Southwest 3474 descend via Ski 3 arrival. Expect RNAV 16 left approach into Denver. Alright, so we got a different runway. We got cleared for the RNAV 16 left, not 16 right, so now we gotta reset this up. So that was, by the way, that was a descend via clearance, and Brian, I think that was a little early, but that's okay because descend via is at pilot's discretion. So now I can set this up for a descend on my calculated.
You know what's funny is how fierce the debate is about when registration should come. like there's some people like it almost feels like it comes to fists for some people. Right? When that ought to happen. Even like between real pilots, like commercial pilots.
Yeah. Let's see. 16.
Southwest 3474, contact Aspen approach on 118.85.
I've got that in on Navigator, so we're going to need vectors here. That's all right. Arrival, we want RNAV 16 left. Yankee was where's the Yankee? So this is something it didn't specify, right? It only specified RNAV 16 left.
Yeah, you didn't get a right,
which it would specify in real life.
Exactly. These are all the little things that still need to be cleaned up. So.
Now we're gonna grab the RNAV. Let's see. What do I want? Probably gonna put me at. Let's take the RNAV Yankee, just because we still have LPV minimums. And we got a couple more waypoints there to stay. RNAV Yankee. 16 left. Position. Execute. And we'll make sure in there now. I'm going to actually have to resequence our T3 transition bump because I got to put that vector leg back in. So this is one of those fun things about airline flights. You got to really understand that FMS. Yeah, perfect. So now, there's bump using, I don't know, we're not actually using reserve fuel, just got confused. So now if I go here, there's A base and K2 ski, budgie, Telluride. And there's our vector leg. And then we can intercept the RNAV on approach course as directed by air traffic. Alright, so we're sequenced in properly. On our way towards A basin, at or above flight level 3270. We are in, which we have correctly, and there's our top of the thing coming up. So, all right. So this is super fun because now I gotta check that checklist again. So we have our landing altitude set, localizer and ILS course not necessary, de-icing. We don't have. Let me check that weather again. And statute miles and clear visibility. We shouldn't be hitting any clouds. And I'm looking out the window right now, and we're actually on a clear sky, so we won't need our de-ice. Landing altitude is set 5450, recall checked. And we're going to set auto brake to 2. Oh, that's right, we're on 16 left now, so let's reevaluate. Yeah, you know what, we're going to set auto brake 1. Because I think if the closer to the end that I can get off the runway, the shorter my taxi is going to be into the Charlie gates. Which is good. It's exactly what I want. Yeah, I got confused on my fuel prediction. I screwed that up. Alright, altimeter. We have that set in standby 3014. And we're coming up on our top of the sun. So let's put that seatbelt sign on. Don't forget. And when we're 20 miles out, start looking at briefing this. I pinned the RNAV Zulu, and I'm actually flying the RNAV. Let's put the right one. Very important to check and double check.
Southwest 3474, contact Aspen approach on 118.85.
Contact approach 118.85, Southwest 3474. Now that's definitely early.
What's your altitude right now?
I haven't started descending. Still flight level 350.
Oh, it's too early.
Yeah, it's too early.
You go take a look at that.
Let's swap over. Approach today is Southwest 3474 at flight level 350, descending via E3.
Right to 090, climbing to 7,635 Juliet Whiskey.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Southwest 3474, Aspen approach. Roger.
Yeah, I think I'm on Aspen approach now.
Oh, I'm totally confused. Yeah, that's weird. There's no Aspen yet. Okay.
I'm nearby Aspen. Man, look at all these mountains. While we were talking, we're now over the beautiful Rocky Mountains, my neck of the woods. Take a couple more screenshots before top of descent.
Southwest 3474 Aspen approach. Descend via the Sky Tree arrival. Denver altimeter 3024.
Descend via the Ski 3 arrival. Copy the Denver altimeter 3024, Southwest 3474. So I think it's worth mentioning that IFR arrivals in particular are the main area of focus right now.
Southwest 3474
Yep, that's
Aspen
what all our
approach.
efforts
Descend via
go
the
to.
Sky Tree arrival. Denver
IFR
altimeter
arrivals right now
3024.
are where we were with VFR arrivals 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And VFR arrivals now are, you know, pretty darn good, 98%. And so from the time it took us to get from a point where IFR or VFR arrivals were kind of the same mess that IFR is right now, till the time that it was fixed was, I don't know, it was probably a week of heavy effort. So if I said, you know, 7 to 14 days from now, I think we'll have this all pretty smooth. I think I could live with myself.
Contact now 120.5.
How's that?
I like it. And it's important to reiterate, we are in beta. Yes, it is a paid beta, and we are very grateful for everyone who's given us the vote of confidence by coming
United
in.
182, reduce speed to 210.
Yeah, it's
participating.
Yeah.
Reducing to 210,
Yeah, and
United
this is
182.
one of those things where, look, if people are expecting that the day will come when the software has no bugs, I mean, never, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to get it to where 95 to 97% of the time the instruction or the
Maintain 190 or greater till advised.
Cleared visual tree 6 right, maintaining 190 or greater American 1289er.
So since I am, oh, you know what I need to do that I forgot to do? Yeah. So since I am in IFR training in real life, I'm going to go ahead and brief this approach like it would be. So we're going to be doing the RNAV GPS Yankee approach into runway 16 left in Denver, Colorado. There's our top of descent. We're beginning to descend via the descent profile. Denver D8 is on 125.6. We have the weather approach on 119.3 coming from the north, but we're coming from the south. 120.35 is what we expect. Denver Tower 135.3 and ground on 121.35. Final approach course for the RNAV is 173 degrees. Our final approach fix is Leets at 7,000 feet, and our LPV minimums are going to be 5,557, which we will set now. Say something, set it.
Southwest 3474. Descend and maintain flight level 270.
Descend and maintain 270, flight Southwest 3474. So I've got an amended clearance now. We're descending and maintaining flight levels 270.
Southwest 3474. Climb and maintain flight level 270.
And now there's a climb clearance on the descent, which we're working on.
You know, we can do this right here on the recording if you want. But when do you think is the best time from an altitude and a descent perspective to get that Tracon handoff? Like 16,000 maybe?
I mean, it depends on I think it depends a little bit on the arrival that you're in.
Yeah. And also, the different Tracon areas are a little different.
Right.
I know SoCal's a little higher than others, for example, but we can model all of that. Give me a rough starting point here.
I mean, coming into Denver, since it's at 5,000 feet, I'd say descending at a flight level, 18170, something like that.
Yeah, we'll model the intricacies. But that bug, where you got your Tracon handoff at, flight level 350, that is now fixed.
Wonderful. 57.
I know I promised we weren't going to debug while we're on the thing, but you hit that one and it bugged me enough. I went over to the keyboard.
All right, so it's coming up to 3470, and I want a little bit lower, so let's ask. Approach Southwest 3474, wondering if we could get lower.
Southwest 3474, descend and maintain flight level 220.
Descend and maintain 220. Southwest 3474, thank you. And we've got a speed restriction here as well, so we're going to pull the speed brakes out. We're getting a little high on the arrival.
Southwest 3474, descend and maintain flight level 220.
Descend and maintain 220, 3474.
Yeah, another little hiccup there that we're sorting out.
Hang on, my cat's jumping on my monitor. Unedited, folks. Cat was literally climbing on my monitor arm, so he had to be removed. Alright, as we can see, we're about 2,000 or 1,600 feet high on our VNAV profile, so we're going to pull those speed brakes out. Get down a little bit quicker, especially since we've got an upcoming speed restriction, 250. You're flying airliners, it's all about energy management. I mean, any aircraft for that
Southwest 3474, cleared direct Joe Bob. Cross Joe Bob at or above 10,000. Cleared for the RNAV runway 16 left approach into Denver. Descend and maintain 10,000.
Also, quite early. Clear direct Joe Bob, cross Joe Bob at or above 10,000, clear for the RNAV 16 left into Denver, and we'll descend and maintain 10,000, Southwest 3474. We got our approach clearance, so that was pretty early, but we'll follow it. That's alright. That would be why I'm all messed up, because it's sequenced weird. Yeah, so I sequenced my arrival in twice here.
FedEx 1482 heavy climb to 7,000, report passing through 5,000.
Climbing to 7,000 will report passing 5,000 FedEx 1482 heavy.
Southwest 3474, descend and maintain 16,000.
So maintain 16,000, 3474. That altitude makes a little bit more sense considering we're still over the mountains. Still with me, Brian?
I'm still here.
Perfect. Couple notes for you when we're done, of course. Nothing major.
Sure.
Stingray 239er AZ Phoenix, approach radar contact. 10 east of Red Horse Wash Airport at 9,400 feet. Williams altimeter 3012.
can see Pikes Peak down there to our south. I really should be in the cockpit for the approach. And we're coming back down onto our VNAV profile.
Stingray 239er, AZ Phoenix approach contact Los Angeles Center on 124.85.
So anyways, we're cleared for the approach now. We're cleared direct Joe Bob. From Joe Bob, it's course 173. Descend 9,000 at Kurt, 8,000 at Kick Me.
Maintain 10,000.
Gonna maintain 10,000, 3474. As I was saying, 8,000 at Kick Me, 7,000 at Leech is our final approach fix, and we'll then reset the LTV descent profile down to our minimums, which are set 5,597, so that's 5,557 with a 40-foot buffer. In case we have to go around the missed approach, just climb straight ahead 5,900, then climbing right, turn to 10,000 direct in B and hold, continue to climb and hold to 10,000 feet. Especially approach high terrain to the west, minimum safe altitude. Nearby runway 16 left, 10,200. Simultaneous approaches after approach, and it's going to be a tight turn to intercept this final approach course we want to take. And below 180. Set that altimeter 301. Let's go into the VNAV descent here. It really wants me. 24010. Okay. Yeah, so if I set that speed intervention up, it's really going to want me at 2315. So we'll just leave it here and we'll manual. Okay, 60% after Joe Bob.
Holding short of runway 30 Bonanza 64 Foxtrot Alpha 2.
And since we've got other descent instructions, just going to make sure with approach we're still cleared for the approach. Denver approach southwest 3474. Confirm we are still cleared for the RNAV 16 left approach into Denver at Joe Bob. If you're not sure, ask.
There you go.
It did miss an approach handoff and now thinks I'm on Aspen Tower.
Monarch 10 Yankee Sarah Genève Tower,
Yeah,
runway
so
4,
you
line up and
were-
wait.
Oh, it flipped it over. Look at that. What a weird little bug that is. Oh, someone else reported that earlier today. This is great. All right. Debugging in real time.
So I'm gonna tune up to the approach frequency that I see on the chart.
Yeah. It's a weird little handoff right there, isn't it?
Denver approach southwest 3474 radio check.
Southwest 3474 Denver approach, descend and maintain 10,000.
So to maintain 10,000 southwest 3474 and confirm we're still cleared for the RNAV 16 left into Denver. Doesn't love that, or doesn't love that. Got tower.
Southwest 3474, descend and maintain 7,000.
So to maintain 7,000, 3474. Is our tower frequency. Put that in standby.
UPS 1302, heavy descent to 5,000, expect RNAV approach runway 21.
Descending to 5,000, expecting RNAV 21, UPS 1302 heavy.
Denver approach Southwest 3474. Confirm please that we are still cleared for the RNAV 17 left. Correction, RNAV 16 left. I made a mistake there. I asked for the RNAV 17 left. Denver approach Southwest 3474. Please confirm, are we still cleared for the approach runway 16 left?
It may correct you here.
Alright, approach checklist, alternatives checked, localizer and frequency not necessary.
Southwest 3474, affirmative. You are cleared for the RNAV approach to runway 16 left.
Thank you. Cleared RNAV 16 left, 3474. Alright, approach mode is armed. Yeah. And let's just look. Out here we should be flying over Denver. There's downtown Denver. And oh, frame rate. Good lord. And there's the airport. Frame rate inside is fine. Passenger speed.
Climb and maintain flight level 070, 104 Yankee Sierra.
1. Actually, descend all the way 180.
Climb and maintain flight level 080, Monarch Yankee Sierra.
LNAV engaged FAC armed, VNAV path and disengaged glide path is armed. Let's take flaps 2. Local speed breaks out. Just to get our ground speed under control. Or airspeed under control. For this turn.
Going to 126.035.
Now, no one's allowed to judge my landing, okay?
I don't think that's how it works, sir.
This is about your software, not my competence.
This will be fun.
1,000 feet, landing lights.
I got my signs all ready to hold up based on how you do here. I got a 1 through 3. I don't think I'll need more than that.
Southwest 3474, contact Denver Tower on 124.3.
4 maybe? 6?
Contact Denver Tower 124.3.
Should I make a 7? Should I get the 7 ready to hold up?
Sorry, I wasn't hearing your slander because I was too busy contacting Tower.
Yeah, you were too busy doing what you were told.
Denver Tower, hello. Southwest 3474 on the RNAV 16 left. So that tower handoff was also a little bit earlier, but I understand why. It's because I am close. I'm coming in at an acute angle to intercept this this final approach course. Not quite normal, but
you're probably
Denver
just
Tower,
close enough to
affirmative, cleared for the RNAV runway 16 left approach into Denver.
There's your affirmative.
Yep. Continue approach runway.
Yeah, which is fine.
16 left. into Denver, Southwest 3474. Bad radio call. My instructor would not be happy with me. Get down a little bit quicker here. Let's actually go intervene. Flaps 5. Flaps 5 requested inside. Better to configure a little early and come in slow, especially when you're on a tight turn into the approach like this. And here we go. Final approach course mode is set. Glide path captured. So highest we captured from above. That's always a little bit scary. We've got it.
All right, I'm going to make a 7, and this is looking pretty good.
Yeah?
Throw out the 1 through 5. I think you're going to do good.
Runway is in sight.
Now the real
12
question.
miles to run.
The real question, sir, do you get cleared to land?
Yeah, it's true. You know what? I should queue up ground as well. 12135. Is this ever nerve-wracking for you watching somebody?
You have no idea. I actually had to start limiting the amount of like live streams from other people that I watch and things like that. So yeah, it's very when the tiniest thing goes wrong, it's painful to me. I want this thing to be right so badly, right? And I want all the details to be right, and I want, you know, every little intricacy to be perfect and modeled exactly the way it's supposed to be. It'll never get there, but we can get it awful close. But yeah, when it's not perfect, I definitely take it personally. And I know I shouldn't, but I do.
Reduce speed 160. Flaps 10.
How far out are you right now? 5, 6 miles?
7 miles out from the runway threshold.
Yeah, okay.
We'll go gear down, flaps 15. We got some turbulence on this approach.
Tower, verify the Zulu Golf is inbound. Locator Alpha, approach 34.
Yeah, it's bumpy, isn't it?
Yeah. Tops 25.
Southwest 3474, winds 294 at 5. Runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Runway 16 left, 3474. Tops 30. About 60. Turn off the autothrottle, turn off the autopilot. Let's see what I can do.
You're gonna set it down by hand, huh? The way
Yep.
God intended.
Bearing ATC cleared to land runway 34. Windcom, QNH 1010. Report runway in sight. Bonanza November 64 Foxtrot Alpha 2, hold short of runway 30, traffic on final.
Bad pilot, I forgot what my
Holding short of runway 30 Bonanza.
We're going to set it
November
down at
64
140.
Foxtrot Alpha 2.
A little bit more for this Gust factory. I think
We
it's
have the
about
runway in sight.
Skyhawk 505 Alpha Mike, descend to 2,000 feet, report established on the localizer.
Descending to 2,000 feet will report established on the localizer Skyhawk 505 Alpha Mike.
Mooney 824 Foxtrot Delta, reduce speed to 160 knots, traffic on final.
Slowing to 160 knots. Mooney 824 Foxtrot Delta.
a little low.
Sydney Tower, just 811 with you, plot level 100, heading towards Zonka.
50. 30.
Jet Star 811 Sydney, transfer Smith Tower, say intentions.
Oh. Not great.
Beechcraft
I can
November
only laugh because
9001
mine
Bravo,
would
hold
have been
short of
worse.
runway 33, traffic on final.
And
Holding
just
short
wanted
of
to
runway
let you know
33,
that
Beechcraft,
Say
November
Intention has no
9001
control
Bravo.
of this moron on the runway in front of us.
No, in fact, injected traffic, sequence traffic, all that stuff is coming. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
That'll be the next big thing that we
Star
work on.
811 cleared ILS approach. Runway
Nobody's
34
gonna
left
go
report
right through this
established.
guy.
Cleared ILS approach, runway 34 left, report established.
Is he stopping?
Something like that.
Bonanza November 64 Foxtrot Alpha 2, enter right base runway 21.
Right base runway 21 for Bonanza. November 64 Foxtrot Alpha 2.
Oh, that's like a speed exit right there.
Skyhawk
Yeah.
542 Alpha X-ray, turn right, heading 240, contact departure.
Right to 240, contacting departure Skyhawk
APU
542
on
Alpha.
and landing lights off.
Southwest 3474, contact ground on 121.35.
Contact ground 121.35, Southwest 3474.
How about the timing on that handoff?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Right as I was exiting. Denver ground, Southwest 3474, clear of 16 left on Foxtrot. Request taxi to Charlie Gates. Now, I don't know if it actually knows exactly where the Charlie Gates are, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, it might. This is all gonna get redone, so, you know,
Yeah.
there's not much point in showing
Southwest
off if it does a
3474
good job
Denver
or a
ground
bad
taxi
job.
to Gate Charlie
But
via
yeah,
Foxtrot
it
Alpha.
might.
Have a good day.
Foxtrot Alpha?
Taxi Charlie Gates via Foxtrot, Southwest 3474. So we got Foxtrot correct. Alpha would put me all the way down towards the Alpha Gates at the
Classic.
far end. So close.
And like I said, I'd love to take credit for it if it went well. Love to not take credit for it if it doesn't, but it's all getting redone, so it doesn't matter.
All right, after landing checklist, transponders back to TCAS is off. Flaps projected speed brakes are down. Landing lights are off. Strobes will remain on until we get into the ramp. APU
Hawker
is
511 Hotel Alpha,
on.
proceed to holding point
Lights
Bravo
on,
via
ATIS is
taxiway
off.
Alpha.
APU probe heat.
Proceeding to holding point Bravo via Alpha, Hawker 511 Hotel Alpha.
Auto brake off. Engine start switches off. Turn off lights. It's bright outside, so we don't need that.
Airbus 450 Alpha
And,
Bravo, follow the Cessna, then continue to Gate Foxtrot 7.
So it's on.
Following the Cessna, continuing to Gate Foxtrot 7.
There's the Charlie Gates over there. You know, I'm going to make another excuse for that landing, Brian. I've been flying mainly the Phoenix A320 for airliners.
Sure.
And then also general aviation because...
Of course,
I'm,
yes.
You know, I'm a student. I'm an instrument student, so I've been flying general aviation, the Phoenix A320.
Speak, we all understand.
Yeah. I'm glad you understand. Remember, kids, if to be a real pilot, a bad landing is never your fault. And a bad landing, it was performed in the worst turbulence and storm imaginable. A good landing was also performed in the worst turbulence and storm imaginable, but you overcame it.
Is that the difference between a good one and a bad one?
That's
is in the telling?
Is in the story, exactly. Say a good landing is one that you can walk away from, but
and that's right. I have to live by that one, unfortunately. And by those standards, I have several good landings.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
So something I want to, as we're taxiing here into the gate, we both know and we saw that the IFR rifles need some work, right?
Yeah, a little bit of work,
but
yeah,
what
sure.
I want to say is that, remember, the SayIntentions will respond to what you want. So hopefully you were able to see, you the viewer were able to see in that example how, it was giving me something a little weird, wasn't perfect, but I, as the pilot, asked for what I want, and SayIntentions was able to accommodate. And working together with the air traffic controller, we came in for a safe descent and landing. Well, safe descent. I can't speak so favorably about the land.
Safe from here. I wasn't in the airplane.
and
no,
yes,
all
of that should be fixed and will be fixed. But one of the things I want to stress is how flexible the software can be, and how if you're not seeing something that you like, ask for something different. Don't be a bystander in your own aircraft. This is taxi right in.
That's right in. That's exactly right. Yeah. No, and this was a great flight. And again, like this is going to be our first one that we post where we say, start to finish unedited IFR flight.
Yeah.
And there were some hiccups in there. None that concern me. Like in fact, literally every hiccup you hit is sitting here. It's already written down on a scratch pad. In fact, we knocked out one of them while you were flying, which was not my intention, but it bugged me enough that I quickly clobbered that one. The other ones, nothing complicated. Like I said, 7-10 days from now, we'll have all this stuff knocked out. My guess is by the time people watch this, it's ancient history.
Yeah. So as I am shutting down, Brian, if people are looking at this and going, that sounds like something I would love to try, what can we do?
Well, first of all, anybody can try this thing for free, 24-hour demo. Go to our website, SayIntentions.AI, SayIntentions.AI, and there's a link there to sign up for the 24-hour demo. It's free. And then once you're done with that, if you decide you want to, subscribe, jump in. And it's worldwide. We have 88,000 airports loaded into this thing. Europe is now rapidly becoming busier than the U.S. For us.
The European,
is so cool.
We love the European flight sim pilots, but my God, you guys are everywhere.
Yeah, no. Look, here's the thing about the Europeans that I love so much. These guys are passionate about flight sim. Like guys like you and I take this seriously. No, in Europe they are next level serious about this stuff, and I love it.
My thrust reversers. Look at this moron taxiing into the gate with his thrust reversers out. Well, I didn't ever profess to be a perfect pilot.
I hate it when you pull up the camera view and it shows another airplane, right? That's the worst.
Yeah. I know. This is me. This is me right over here. Perfect. No thrust reversers deployed. Are there any minimum system requirements? Does
not much.
SayIntentions reverse your frame rate at all?
No, this is the coolest thing about what we're doing. All of the work is done elsewhere. on other servers. Again, if we tried to run this thing on your PC would melt.
Airbus
And I mean that
450
sincerely.
Alpha
It couldn't do
Bravo,
it.
proceed to the cargo ramp
You
via
would need
taxiway Papa
a
contact
compute
ground on
farm that would probably
121.9.
not fit in your house.
Yeah.
Proceeding to the cargo ramp via Papa
that's
contacting
what's
ground
so
on
cool. You get this cool
121.9 Airbus
state-of-the-art tech
450
without
Alpha
affecting your
Bravo.
frame rate, right? Install the little app on your computer. It's just a little
Falcon
bridge. It doesn't
762
do anything.
Foxtrot Romeo Cross
Zero
runway
effect
25
on frame
contact
rate.
tower
I
on
guarantee you it will not
123.4.
affect anything. And
Crossing runway 25
there's also
contacting
not that
tower on
much smarts in there.
123.4. Falcon
Meaning,
762
as we push
Foxtrot
out new
Romeo.
updates and new features and things like that, you don't have to download a new app all the time to get all these new updates. They come out instantly as we roll them out. So go to the website, sign up for the trial, give it a try anywhere in the world. By the way, we speak 9 different languages now, so you can now communicate with our traffic control in French,
511
in
Hotel
German,
Alpha, make a right turn and taxi to runway tree via taxiway
Spanish,
Foxtrot and Lima.
Anyway,
Well, here,
9
I
different
can
languages.
pull up the
Runway
list.
33
Yeah, I
via
can pull up the
Oh
list
yeah,
in
if
the
you've
app.
got it there, I
511
lose track
Hotel
because we're going to
Alpha.
add a bunch more.
Yeah.
Here in the next week or so, we'll probably add a whole pile more.
We can do English in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different dialects. We can then do Dutch, German, French, Italian, Polish, Portuguese, Spanish, and Swedish. And those are all languages that you can speak to the ATC in, and they will speak back to you.
Yes. So yeah, not only does it understand you if you speak in one of those languages, but the response will be in that language as well. So nobody else is doing anything like that, right? So 9 different languages. There's tour guide, which we talked about a little bit during this flight, where it'll talk about some of the different things that you're seeing if you're a low altitude flyer.
That'll be another video. When we do another
all
VFR
this
flight.
stuff needs its own video. Everything we've talked about needs a video where we could really get into the details on this stuff. This thing is expansive. Like you will not run out of cool things that this thing can do. Mostly because we're adding them faster than people are finding them. So, yeah, jump in. Come try it out. Fly with it. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it.
Yep. We want to, and one of the things too is we understand we're in beta. There are bugs. That's why we have the demo. We want to make sure before you give us your hard-earned money that you enjoy what you're
Tornado
doing.
892
And one
Tango
more thing I
Oscar
want to say,
taxi
and I
to
know we
holding
didn't
point
really get
Bravo
surprised
2 via
discussion,
taxiway Alpha.
but you said
But
the
it's
word-
always in the past. It's
Taxi to
always in the
holding
back
point
of
Bravo
everyone's
2
mind,
via
right?
Alpha Tornado
But you said the
892
words
Tango
hard-earned
Oscar.
money, and I want to emphasize one really interesting thing about a subscription model, which is we have to earn your business every single month, right? When that subscription comes due, if you aren't still having a great time with this, then you stop giving us your money. So unlike a program where you pay a one-time fee to use the program and that's it, that developer has no incentive to ever please you again. They have your money, right? That's it. We have to earn your business again and again and again and again, which means that this thing can't go
Cleared
stagnant,
across
right?
runway
It has
21
to keep getting
contact
better
apron on
and better and better,
131.2.
or you're going to stop paying
Cleared
us.
across runway
And that's how it
21
should be,
contacting
right?
apron on
So
131.2.
yes, there are
Learjet
pros and cons to a
333 Lima
subscription, but boy,
Juliet.
that is a big pro, which is we are highly incentivized to earn your business over and over and over again. And I love that part of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. What are these air traffic controllers Googling?
I don't know, but they're just screwing around. They're just sitting in the control tower messing around. All right, I'm not gonna lie, that's funny. Put that in there. That's hilarious.
So this is Flight Beam's Denver scenery.
I mean, that's hilarious
in the simulator. This is incredible.
Somebody put that in there
Yeah.
and laughed about it and thought nobody would ever see it, but that's hilarious.
And there, yeah. I mean, you do the
By the way-
same thing,
By
right?
the way,
You've got a couple
I do.
of
We've got dozens of Easter eggs buried in art that I guarantee you when you find them, they'll make you laugh.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think on that note, I think we're pretty much good to go here, right, Brian? You see?
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks for
Have a good day.
Before we leave?
Try it. Try it. It speaks for itself. And I know that sounds cheesy and dumb, but just try it. Just try it. We can talk all day about what it does and doesn't do and what it might do and all the but that's all talk. No talk. Enough talk. Just get in here and try it. You're
And
gonna
they're
love it.
playing Flight Sim on the other computers too.
It's funny. I love
it. Is this Sim Brief? Can't tell.
Looks like
it kind of looks a
Hawker
little bit.
511 Hotel Alpha, make a right turn and
Anyways,
taxi to runway
thanks,
Tree
Brian.
via
Thanks
taxiway
for,
Foxtrot and
thanks
Lima.
for joining, and we'll post this whole thing in its entirety,
via Foxtrot
cat
Lima,
and all.
Hawker 511
And,
Hotel Alpha.
Meow.
See ya.